All right, if you could you tell at that time, in terms of describing who was on top and who was on the bottom?
I could only see colors of clothing.
Okay, the color of clothing on top, what could you see?
It was dark.
Okay, how about the color of clothing at the bottom?
I believe it was a light white or red color.
To Mark NeJame, CNN analyst, also well-known trial attorney in the Florida area and now all around the country because of all the coverage that you've been doing, not only on this case but other high-profile cases. Big moment. And that's the moment where people wondered, why did the prosecution call this man?
I think it was a smart move, Ashley, because it was going to come out. If the state didn't call this witness, surely the defense will. And then the jury's going to be wondering why did not the prosecutor tell us the entire truth? Also, the prosecutor wants to maintain credibility, and he wants to go ahead and, knowing that something's going to hurt him, do his best to take the wind out of the sails of the defense. And the last reason he would have called is, you referenced it earlier, he was able to loop back a little bit and try to give Janelle a little bit of credibility by showing that she wasn't asked all the questions, as Mr. Good was not asked all the questions and hence didn't give all the answers. So I think it was a very good strategy, knowing that all this was going to come out anyway. However, with all that said, in my opinion, it was the state who got grounded and pounded through this statement today from Mr. Good. This is entirely consistent with what the defense has been saying all along through their press conferences and by showing the bloodied pictures of George Zimmerman, that in fact it was Zimmerman on the ground and he was being beat and his head was being bashed in by Mr. Martin. Now, we're going to have to see who else says what, but this really plays into exactly what the defense has been saying. And as I've been saying for the last year, whoever can be proven to be on the bottom crying for help, the other person was in fact going to be deemed to be the perpetrator, the dominant force, and that inures to the benefit of whoever was on the ground screaming for help.
And if I were going up against you in court, I would say this. I've seen plenty of fights that go like this. Bang, 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 and then knockout punch. So it's probably not surprising that we're hearing neighbors living just doors from each other giving completely differing accounts of what they thought they saw in the shadowy figures as to who was on top, who was on the bottom. Significant, though, Mark NeJame, I'm going to get you to talk about this after the break, and that was the knockout punch that perhaps the prosecutor made when he said, could you see their mouths moving when you said you thought that it was George Zimmerman who was calling out for help, and he had to answer no. So there's been a lot of stuff that's been done today that was done yesterday to two varying accounts. Everybody hold your place for a moment, if you will, because what does it all matter when the law states who is the person actually who started the fight? We're going to talk about that later as well. A lot of other news that's making headlines around the country, around the globe, all of that coming up next.